Now, Harriet, you have quite a bit of experience as a CrossFit coach, but your, I guess, new venture is quite interesting at a school in Australia. Can you tell us about what you do now as a day job?
So I work at a school in sort of northwest Sydney, and CrossFit is like an elective sport, so you can choose to not so much compete in it, but choose it as, say, some students will pick rugby, soccer, cricket, whatever it might be, and CrossFit, or Knoxfit as we call it, is like an elective sport that the boys get to choose.
So how old are these students that you're working with, and when they come to you, I mean, do they have the fundamentals of squatting? Do they know some of the Olympic lifts, or what are you working with?
So they're high school boys, so they're year 7 to year 12, so that's like 12 years old to about 18. They come in year 7 with no skills, or even all the way up to year 12, they might have never done anything ever before. So we're just teaching them basic movement patterns, how, like you said, how to squat, how to hinge, all that sort of stuff, just the fundamentals. A lot of them are just starting from that baseline, but then as they go throughout the years, they kind of progress along if they choose to do that sport like in consecutive years. And yeah, it's a big challenge with some kids who haven't done anything before to some kids are kind of progressing along that line, and getting towards things like learning skills like Olympic lifting and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a big broad group of athletes that we work with.
And what are you doing in terms of programming? Do you program for these kids, or do you follow .com, or how do you determine how they're moving along in their CrossFit journey?
Yeah, so I do the programming at the moment, and basically as they come in, they go through like an assessment. That's like a movement assessment, and that's our number one thing, make sure they're moving well. So that will go through like squat, basic body position, stuff like that. And so they go through like a testing procedure that kind of ranks them into different groups based on how they move. And then from there they'll get some sort of either like skills program or strength program teaching them basic movements, and then we all kind of get together at the end of the day, so they kind of separate out into their groups for that strength portion or skills portion, and get together and do some sort of conditioning piece, which is never really based on movement, it's more based on effort. I have big respect for the kids who put in 100%, whether they're the best athletes or the worst. If they come in and they give 100%, then that's what they get kind of rewarded for in the conditioning part of it. So, yeah.
You'd probably have the same struggles that a lot of affiliate owners have with scaling and having lots of students at very different levels. How do you cope with that, having, like you said, boys in year 7, which is about 12, 13, to 18-year-olds who are obviously going through adolescence and growing at different times, and how do you negate through that?
Yeah, so at the moment, so each year group comes on a different day, so it's okay in regards to kind of separating out those age divisions, but then from there we have like 3 or 4 coaches per class, so then each group gets to kind of go off with another coach to help kind of break it down a little bit more. It also helps us with numbers because as you can imagine, even coaching an adults CrossFit class, if you've got one coach and 15 adults who are all listening to their coaches, and then you have some younger students who are kind of like off in another world, then it really makes it even more difficult. So it's just about having probably just a couple more numbers of staff on board to be able to help and cope with those different varieties of abilities and stuff like that.
Are you aware of anywhere else in Australia or around the world that's implementing this in schools?
There's there's 1 or 2 schools in Sydney that I've heard of, but everyone does it a little bit differently. Some is an elective sport, some is a compulsory thing that they have to choose to do, or they have to do, not choose to do. So it's all, and I've spoken to the other coaches from those schools and how they run the program, because we all kind of want to get on board or hear something that works well and try to use it across the board. And yeah, it's all a little crazy and all over the shop. So it's out there, but it's not super common. So yeah, we're very lucky to have it.